परिजन सहितं एवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान् सहागण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Now some verses in offering obeisance to Srimad Bhagavatam. नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नष्टकी कृष्णसुधाम उपगते धर्मज्ञानिभिः सह कलौ नष्टं दृशामेषा पुराण अर्कोधनोदिता अनर्थपश्मं साक्षात् अनर्थपश्मं साक्षात् भक्ति योग मधोक सचे लोक से चंद विद्वांस चक्रे सतत समिताम यस्य विश्वमानयाम कृष्ण परमा पुरुषे भक्ति उत्पादते पुंसाम शोक मोह भयापः. श्री भागवतम की जय. श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठा भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. Thank you, my dear friends. Thank you for joining me today. I'm really grateful to Krishna and you that all of us have come together to study Srimad Bhagavatam. As always, I look forward to this day very eagerly, where I can discuss Bhagavatam with my very dear friends. And today happens to be a very, very special day. So I'm right now here in Braj, and in Braj, they have a very special tradition in Nandagaon. The tradition they have here is that this is, as you know, currently it's the month of Adhik Mas or Purushottam month, which comes every 3 years. Now, this month is called Mala Mas. Mala means what? Dirt. So all the pujaris and pandits, they call it Mala Mas because in this month you can't perform any kind of ritual. Like you can't do a yagya for entering a house. You can't organize a marriage. You can't start a business. So they call it a dirty month because in dirty month you can't do anything good for material wealth. They call the Mala Mas. So in this month, there is so much spiritual benefit that anytime somebody does any chanting, any austerity, any service, the benefit for this month is said to be as powerful or actually more powerful than the month of Kartik. I'm sure all of you have experienced in the month of Kartik when we do spiritual activities, we get so much boost. It is so easy to do spiritual activities and it's so you get so much more reciprocation. There's so much to be said about it. But the point I wanted to share was I'm here in Braj in Nandagaon, and during this month of Kartik, on this month of Purushottam month, and here in Kartik, they have this tradition, in this month of Purushottam, they have this tradition that they celebrate all the festivals which happen throughout the whole year in this month. So they celebrate Holi, Diwali, and all the tithis they celebrate in this month because traditionally looking, there's no tithi for this month. Like if you look at the calendar in the Purushottam month, there is no tithi. Like, in every month, there is appearance days, disappearance days, there is like festivals. But in Purushottam month, if you look at the calendar, there's nothing like that. There's only 2 Ekadashis. Apart from that, there is no other special days. So in Braj, they turn everything upside down. They say, oh, there's no special days. Why not make every day a special day? So they say, like suppose some festival is celebrated on the 6th day, on the Shashti. So on the 6th and the Shashti of another month, we celebrate Mother Yashoda's birthday. So in this month, they say, okay, on the 6th day, we will celebrate Mother Yashoda's birthday. Like Radha Ashtami is an Ashtami. So Ashtami means that's the day for Krishna's birthday, Radharani's birthday. So they celebrate Radharani's birthday and Krishna's birthday again in this month. So all the birthdays, all the festivals, they all happen in this one month, packed up in the month of this special period of Braj. So there is one such special festival which happens during the year, and that festival is called Pani Hati. And that festival has got a connection with our discussion today, with the verse which we're covering today. So I was very excited when I read the purport and I could see, wow, it so happens that we are having this meeting today, and it also connects with the Tithi for which we should be celebrating the festival for. So let's, without any further gap, jump into Srimad Bhagavatam and see how Krishna has planned our today's discussion ahead of us. Let me see if I can share my screen. Okay, I think I can. Let me turn on my phone. WhatsApp off. Okay, here we go. So we will sing the. Did you already sing the verse? Verse number 33? I saw you were having a discussion earlier. Or you were just doing a recap? Okay, good, good. It's good to do a recap. Okay. So we are verse number 33. As Krishna was recounting before I came, that Maharaj Yudhistir, he is anxious and he's asking Sanjay, what happened to my uncle who is old and blind? So these are some of the verses which he is speaking. Okay. 33 onwards, isn't it? Okay. I'll sing the verse. Ambacha hata putrartha pitrivya kvakata suhit api mai akrita pragge hata bandhu sabharyaya asam samana shamalam gangayam dukhito patat. It's interesting verse. I'm not sure if I did a good job at reciting it. Let's see. If you can all recite the verse one by one.
अम्बाच हतपुत्रार्थ पितृव्यक्वगतसुहृत् अपि मय्यकृता प्रज्ञे हता बन्धुसभार्यया आशंसमानशमलं गङ्गायां दुःखितो पतत्.
Only one person recites the verse? I thought everybody should recite the verse, isn't it? How do we usually do it?
Yes, Prabhuji, yeah. Akka,
Okay.
Geetika Akka, you should go next. Okay, probably I'll go next because Pratava will not be able to read. Amba chahata putrartha pitruvya kvagata surit api maya krita pragne hata bandhu sabharyaya ashamsama mana shamalam gangayam dukkito patat.
अम्बाचा हतपुत्रार्थ पितृव्यः क्व गतः सहृत् अपि मया कृता प्रज्ञे हतबन्धुसभार्यया अशंसमानः समलं गङ्गायां दुःखितो पतत्.
अम्बा च हता पुत्रार्था पितृव्यः क्व गतः सुहृत् अपि मयि अकृता प्रज्ञे हता बन्धुसभार्यया अशंसमानः शमलं गङ्गायां दुःखितो पतत्.
अम्बा च हतपुत्रार्ता पितृव्यः क्व गतः सुहृता अपि माये अकृतप्रज्ञे हता बन्धुः स भारयया अस्मासं मानः समलं गङ्गायं दुःखितोपतात्
अम्बा च हता पुत्रात् पितृव्या क्व कथा सुहृत् अपि मये अकर्ता प्रज्ञे हता बन्धुस्स भार्यया असंसामन समालं गङ्गायां दुःखितोपतात्
अम्बा च हतपुत्रार्ता पितृव्यः क्व गतः सुहृत् अपि मय्यकृतप्रज्ञे हतबन्धुः स भार्यया आशंसमानः शमलं गङ्गायां दुःखितोपतत्
अम्बाजाहत पुत्रार्थ पितृया क्व गताश्रुहुत् अपि माया करात् प्रज्ञे स भारयान् अस्मासमाः समलं गङ्गायां दुःखितोपतत्
वाजहतपुत्रार्थ पितृव्याक्वगतः सुहृत् अपि मया कृतप्रज्ञे हतबन्धु सभार्यया आशंसमानः शमलं गङ्गायां दुःखितोपतत्
Didn't finish everybody, isn't it?
One
Okay.
more, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Manokka.
Okay.
अम्बा च हता पुत्रार्थ पितृव्यागतासुरात् अपि मय्या कृता प्रज्ञे हता बान्धुश्च भार्यया असमाना समालं गङ्गायां दुःखितोपतात्
Okay, so thank you so much for everybody reading the verse. There's a verse in the first canto, in the second canto, chapter number 3, where it said that even half a verse of Bhagavatam, when recited and meditated upon, can lead one to spiritual world. So it's wonderful that all of you recited the verse beautifully with heart, with an affection. And in fact, each of these verses are like portholes. You know, like if you have heard of black holes, how black holes, if you get trapped into them, you can enter into some and end up in some other world. Similarly, these verses are like that. As we continue to chant the holy name with more and more purity, these verses will become more and more source of infinite nectar for us. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that in each of this verse, there's millions of meanings, thousands of meanings which can be understood. Why he says so? Because these verses which we're reciting right now, they seem to us as a collection of letters, but actually they're not a collection of letters. They're actually transcendental words. Just because we don't have yet pure vision, which is full of love and affection for Krishna, these verses seem mundane to us. But as we chant holy name more purely, these verses will start expanding in front of us. In fact, they will become reality. As people recite these verses, we should be able to actually, one day should come when we recite these verses, this scene should play live right in front of our eyes. And we should be able to enter into them and see it live in front of us. And imagine seeing this scene right in front of you, how much more details will be there. And all those details become available to us when we chant purely. That is why our acharyas, they can write volumes of commentaries on each verse of Bhagavatam. As you will find out, as you practice more and more Krishna consciousness, there are our acharyas have written voluminous amounts of commentaries on each of this verse, each of the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. Why? Because when they read these verses, they actually see the scene right there, then and there. And then they can describe it. And then no words can describe a scene fully. Like suppose here I'm sitting in this room. I could spend hours and hours talking about every small thing which is there. How the light is coming from the side, how there's a switchboard, there's a standing mattress, there's a door, the door has this color. And it's just a mundane world. Spiritual world is so much more beautiful. So then when we read these verses, they actually can be described for hours and hours. But here in our today's meeting, we'll try to discuss something relevant for our spiritual growth. So I beg all of your blessings that we can discuss something which can inspire all of us. So here is the translation. So here, Shrukata Goswami is saying, here Yudhistir is saying to Sanjay, he's saying, where's my uncle? Where's my well-wisher, Vidura, and mother Gandhari, who is very afflicted due to all her sons' demise? My uncle Dhṛtarāṣṭra was also very mortified due to the death of all his sons and grandsons. Undoubtedly, I am very ungrateful. Did he therefore take my offenses very seriously and along with his wife drown himself in the Ganga? Purport. The Pandavas, especially Maharaj Yudhisthira and Arjuna, anticipated the after effects of the battle of Kurukshetra, and therefore Arjuna declined to execute the fighting. The fight was executed by the will of the Lord, but the effects of family aggrievement, as they had thought of it before, had come to be true. Maharaj Yudhisthira was always conscious of the great plight of his uncle Dhṛtarāṣṭra and aunt Gandhari, and therefore he took all possible care of them in their old age and aggrieved conditions. When therefore he could not find his uncle and aunt in the palace, naturally his doubts arose, and he conjectured that they had gone to the water of the Ganga. He thought himself ungrateful because when the Pandavas were fatherless, Maharaj Dhṛtarāṣṭra had given them all royal facilities to live, and in return he had killed all Dhṛtarāṣṭra's sons in the battle of Kurukshetra. As a pious man, Maharaj Yudhisthira took into account all his unavoidable misdeeds, and he never thought of the misdeeds of his uncle and company. Dhṛtarāṣṭra had suffered the effects of his own misdeeds by the will of the Lord, but Maharaj Yudhisthira was thinking only of his unavoidable misdeeds. That is the nature of a good man and a devotee of the Lord. A devotee never finds fault with others, but tries to find his own and thus rectify them as far as possible. So very powerful purport, so many things to discuss here. But before I say something, I would like to open the discussion ground here and ask if anybody has any comments or questions to ask in regards to this purport.
I think just time and time again, Prabhuji, that how humble devotees can be, that despite whatever's happened, he still finds faults in himself and doesn't even for a second think negatively about the other person. So that's inspiring, Prabhuji.
Yes, very inspiring to see that how Yudhishthira Maharaj is finding fault with himself. Although the whole of his life, Dhṛtarāṣṭra was planning and plotting to kill him, to kick him out, but he never thought that Dhṛtarāṣṭra was at fault. He always imagined himself at fault, or at somebody who's acted in a very wrong manner. It's interesting also, as Prabhupada says here, a devotee never finds fault with others, but tries to find his own and thus rectify them as far as possible. So in this one, it's interesting also, one thing is that if you read Chaitanya Bhagavat, in Chaitanya Bhagavat, the author, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, he repeats this thing again and again and again, practically 1,000 times in the book. He says, to achieve perfection in spiritual life, one need to practice two things. One should always chant the holy names, and two, one should never offend the Vaishnavas. What does that mean? That practically means we should never find fault with others. He's always looking for fault in himself. Like I think Jesus has this saying that because we have a big a thorn in our eye, we see faults everywhere else. If you have a thorn in your eye, how would you see? You would see the big log everywhere else. So because there is so much fault inside our heart, we look outside. Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also used to say that if you find faults in somebody else, then look within. That's where you have to find faults. Another favorite teacher, Pundrik Goswami Maharaj, he made this comment. He said, people think the Vedas or the holy books are there for us to judge others, but actually they're meant for us to judge ourselves. They're not meant to be used for judging others or correcting others. They're meant for self-introspection. So all these comments, Prabhupada's comment is very important, as Rajni is pointing out, how a devotee is so humble that he's always finding fault with himself and never finding faults with others. Nice. Anybody else has any comment or question on this paragraph?
Prabhu, I just wanted to add one more thing. People usually they seek fault in others and fault don't look within. Is based on the two emotional dependencies. One is if they are feeling so low, then they may sometime in self introspect, and then they didn't look others because they feel they are in grief. But here in this case, Yudhishthira was like he won the battle. Like here he is on the good side, but still he think of like he looks within rather than looking fault in others. That's really is really good about him here.
Mm-hmm. There's a famous person, Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, and he used to say that humility doesn't mean to think low of yourself, but to think less of yourself. These are two different things. One is to, we are so much, worried about our own personality that we are always thinking how we are bad, this and that. That's not really humility. Humility means you are so much appreciated of others' contributions that you don't have so much time to think of yourself. And you appreciate others, their contributions much more. Okay, nice. I'd like to move to next verse. Actually, I want to cover a couple of verses because there's this very famous verse coming up right after, pretty soon, which I want to cover. Next verse. When my father Pandu fell down and we were all small children, these two uncles gave us protection from all kinds of calamities. These were always our good well-wishers. Alas, where have they gone from here? So it is true, Vidura was somebody who definitely took care of Pandavas, but Dhṛtarāṣṭra, I'm not really sure. Anyways, he puts them both in the same category. Next verse. Sutta Goswami said, because of compassion and mental agitation, Sanjay, not having seen his own master, Dhṛtarāṣṭra, was aggrieved and could not properly reply to Maharaj Yudhistir. So let's see the purport also. Sanjay was a personal assistant of Maharaj Dhṛtarāṣṭra for a very long time, and thus he had the opportunity to study life of Dhṛtarāṣṭra. And when he saw at last that Dhṛtarāṣṭra left home without his knowledge, his sorrows had no bound. He was fully compassionate towards Dhṛtarāṣṭra because in the game of battle of Kurukshetra, King Dhṛtarāṣṭra had lost everything, men and money, and at last the king and the queen had to leave home in utter frustration. He studied the situation in his own way because he did not know the inner vision of Dhṛtarāṣṭra had been awakened by Vidura, and therefore he had left home in enthusiastic cheerfulness for the better life after departure from the dark well of home. Unless one is convinced of a better life after renunciation of the present life, one cannot stick to the renounced order of life simply by artificial dress or staying out of the home. So here's a point is being made that if we take the principles of renunciation, whether renounced
Did we lose Prabhuji?
I think so.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, my Wi-Fi died here as expected. Nandagam. So maybe somebody else can share the screen. As I was saying, Prabhupada is saying here in this purport that one should take renunciation only when one has in one sense a higher taste or for a higher purpose. And we know this from Bhagavad Gita also. Krishna says, Vishya Nivartante Nirasadena Raso Vachana Rasapyasya Param Dishwa Nivartate. That one should take to renouncing only when one has a higher taste, when one is seeking something on a spiritual level. Otherwise, if you do it, then it is just like a sick person. A sick person gives up a diet, like he goes to khichdi diet, but he can't stay on khichdi diet for a long time. That's not really renunciation. That's more like fasting. So the real renunciation is when it is done for spiritual purpose. I would like to do the next verse, which is very important, verse number 36, which will be my main discussion of next 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So I can't see that. Can you go to translation? First, he slowly pacified his mind by intelligence, and wiping away his tears and thinking of the feet of his master, Dhṛtarāṣṭra, he began to reply to Maharaj Yudhistir. Okay, next verse. He begins to reply. Okay, translation. Yeah. Sanjay said, my dear descendant of the Kuru dynasty, I have no information of the determination of your two uncles in Gandhari, O king. I have been cheated by those great souls. It's interesting, the words he used. Cheated by those great souls. And it's a very, very famous purport here. This purpose is very, very famous. Purport writes that great souls cheat others may be astonishing to know, but it is a fact that great souls cheat others for a great cause. It is said, Lord Krishna also advised Yudhisthira to tell a lie before Dronacharya. It was also for a great cause. The Lord wanted it, and therefore it was a great cause. Satisfaction of the Lord is the criteria of one who is bona fide, and the highest perfection of life is to satisfy the Lord by one's occupational duty. That is the verdict of Gita and Bhagavatam. Dhṛtarāṣṭra and Vidura, followed by Gandhari, did not disclose their determination to Sanjaya. They did not disclose their determination to Sanjaya, although he was constantly. Okay. Although he was constantly with Dhṛtarāṣṭra as his personal assistant, Sanjay never thought that Dhṛtarāṣṭra could perform any act without consulting him. But Dhṛtarāṣṭra going away from home was confidential that it could not be disclosed even to Sanjaya. Sanatana Goswami also cheated the keeper of prison house while going away to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And similarly, Raghunadas Goswami also cheated his priest and left home for good to satisfy the Lord. To satisfy the Lord, anything is good, for it is in relation with the absolute truth. Now Prabhupada talks about himself. We also had the same opportunity to cheat the family members and leave home to engage in service of Srimad Bhagavatam. Such cheating was necessary for a great cause, and there is no loss for any party in such transcendental fraud. So here, it's a very, very powerful verse, purport, because Prabhupada is saying that great souls cheat, but they cheat for a great cause. What is a great cause? The great cause is satisfying the desires of Krishna. And then Prabhupada gives so many examples. He gives life from his own life, gives life from life examples of great acharyas. But the example which I want to highlight today is the example of Raghunath Das Goswami. So as many of you know, Raghunath Das Goswami was actually a son of a super billionaire or trillionaire of his time. And he, Raghunath Das Goswami, he somehow or other developed some attraction for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So then he went, when Mahaprabhu was going to Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu stopped in Shantipur, and there he went to Mahaprabhu and he said, Mahaprabhu, I would like to join you. I would like to become part of a team and become renunciate.
And Mahaprabhu at that time told him, no, don't be a monkey renunciate. Don't be a monkey. Monkeys usually, that we are only don't be any cloth at all. They only eat fruits. But don't be a monkey renunciate. Become a renunciate in your heart. So go back. So then for the next part of his life, for the next year or so, he was like a pound and shilling guy on the outside. He was managing his business. In fact, there was some trouble in his family life with business, and he sorted it out. But inside, he was always hankering for the shelter of Mahaprabhu. And he would try to run, but each time he would try to run from his house, his father would capture him. His father would send servants and catch him, like somehow or other. In fact, they got him married to one of the most beautiful girls of that time. He had all the wealth, but neither money or not a good wife could keep him bound in his house. So then his mother complained to his dad that, what is this? Why can't we keep him bound? And then his father said, anybody who has been touched by the nectar of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has become a mad person. And how can you keep hold of a mad person? You can't, tie them down. Anyways, so Raghunath Goswami was wondering, why he's not able to take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why Mahaprabhu didn't accept him. And then finally one day he got the realization. What was his realization? He realized that he should go visit Nityananda Prabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu is actually Adi Guru. He's the first spiritual master. And he was on the planet. Like in our lives, when we take shelter of a spiritual master, we're taking shelter of Nityananda Prabhu. And Mahaprabhu has said so many times that if you want to take shelter of me, you should take shelter of Nityananda Prabhu. So Raghunath Goswami went to see Nityananda Prabhu. And Nityananda Prabhu, when he saw him, he said, oh, here comes a thief. Why call him a thief? Because he was trying to steal Krishna without taking shelter of spiritual master. He said, hey, here comes a thief. I have to punish you. So first of all, Nityananda Prabhu put his lotus feet on his head. And then he said, I have a punishment for you. You have to what? Feed all my friends. And you feed everybody here in Navadvip with your wealth. And what I want you to feed? Not something wealthy stuff, but something simple, but made with love. Chip rice, yogurts, and sweets mixed together is called Chiddahi. It's very simple and easy to make, but very delicious. And it is more like a picnic food. You can eat make very quickly and eat on the side anyway. So he was a rich person, Raghunath Goswami. So he bought all the yogurt, all the milk, and the chip rice in the area, all the fruits, sweets, and whatever he could find, and got them cut up and prepared these huge pots of chip rice and yogurt together with sugar. And then he invited everybody to come and eat. So then, first of all, they offered those big pots to Lord Nityananda Prabhu, and Lord Nityananda Prabhu, with his mind, he brought Lord Chaitanya there. And then both him, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, first of all, Lord Nityananda had all the prasadam distributed to everybody. And then Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya, they went to every person who was sitting there, and they personally ate from their bowl the prasad that was served to them. So in that sense, everybody got remnants of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And of course, the result was everybody was ecstatic, and everybody was chanting loudly. What were they chanting? Hari Hari. So everybody has to unmute themselves and say it loudly. Hari Hari.
Hari Hari.
So like that, they were chanting Hari Hari, and they were eating lots and lots of chip rice with yogurt and sweets. But some people didn't find a place to eat. So what they did, because there was so many crowded, they went into the river, and they were standing in the river halfway into the waist in the water and eating this chip rice and sweets together. And then after that, Raghav Pandit came onto the scene, and Raghav Pandit said, Nityananda Prabhu, come and come to my home. So Lord Nityananda said, okay, I'll come to your home in the evening. So in the evening, Raghav Pandit went there and he served him dinner to Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya came in the mind again, in the mental form. And afterwards, Raghunath Goswami was invited to offer prayers to Lord Nityananda. And he told Lord Nityananda that I'm a dwarf, but I'm trying to catch hold of the moon. Why is he saying that? Let's say if you're a tall guy and you can go higher, but if you're a short guy, not even a tall guy, a dwarf, and you have a desire to capture a moon, how foolish you must be. So you're saying, I'm a dwarf guy, but I'm desiring the moon. What's the moon? The moon is Lord Chaitanya Chandra. I'm trying to get shelter of Krishna. I'm trying to get shelter of Lord Chaitanya, but I'm dwarf. I'm very small. So I need your blessings. Lord Nityananda was very happy, very pleased with his prayers. And he gave me the blessings. Yes, you can very soon achieve the shelter of Lord Chaitanya. So what's the lesson? The lesson is that one cannot achieve shelter of Lord Chaitanya unless one receives shelter of one's Guru. One has to please one's Guru and receive his shelter. And how do we please one's Guru? By taking care of other devotees, by feeding them prasadam, by serving other devotees. When we serve other devotees nicely with our full heart, then our spiritual master is pleased. And when our spiritual master is pleased, then Krishna is achieved. So then after this festival, Raghunath Goswami came back to his home. And when Raghunath came back to his home, very soon, a few days later, he was always surrounded by guards. So whenever he would run away, the guards will find him. But one fine day, right after this incident, he was woken up by one of his priests. The priest said, there was supposed to be a pujari who should have come this morning to do arati, but that pujari didn't come. Can you please go and fetch that pujari and bring him here? So then Raghunath said, yeah, I can go. And Raghunath went out to get that pujari who had run away. So he told his teacher there, I'm coming back. But the moment he realized at this morning time, there was no security guards around and he had a chance to escape, he escaped. So he spoke a lie. But that lie was for pleasing Krishna, for the purpose of taking shelter of Krishna. So such a kind of cheating, as Prabhupada is saying, is bona fide. It is for a good cause. It was a great cause. What is a great cause? The great cause is for the pleasure of Lord Chaitanya. So then, Raghunath Goswami, he ran and he didn't take a major road. He took small roads. Like when you go to some big cities, we always take an expressway. No, he was taking small city roads, or actually going through forest from village to village, so that he could not be captured. And finally, he made it to Lord Chaitanya. And this time, Lord Chaitanya accepted him. He said, now I'm willing to accept your renunciation. Why? Because you have taken the proper steps. You have taken shelter of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, and Lord Nityananda has already recommended you to me. So like that, Raghunath Goswami held this festival, the Panihati festival, because the festival was happening in Panihati, where he spread thousands of people Shiradahi, and which happened to fall today. So I was thinking today we are reading this verse, and today happened to be this special day of Panihati festival, so it's quite interesting. So there's a lot of lessons to be taken here, but a very important one is that, as Prabhupada is saying again and again, the great souls, they cheat others, but for a great cause. So I'll rest my case here. Anybody has any comments or thoughts to offer? No comments? Okay.
Prabhuji, I had a question.
Yes.
But oftentimes when we think that we don't realize whether it's if this is what we are meant to do, if it is from within, if this is what we are meant to do in terms of whether this or that sort of a situation, then how do we know that we are making a spiritually sound decision and not based off of our own mental speculation or whatever that is? Yeah. Or how do we know this is a spiritual calling?
How do you know is this for a spiritual cause versus a mental cause? See, one thing is that we can never be perfect. Like when you're studying, you always make mistakes. Why can't we make mistakes in spiritual life? It is fine to make mistakes in spiritual life also. It's not that every step we take is going to be a perfect step. Like when you learn to ride a bike, you don't just ride biking without making mistakes. You fall down a few times. Some people like Harsh, they fall down after learning bike after so many years. So doesn't mean he will stop biking. I'm sure he will keep biking even then also, isn't it? Harsh, would you stop biking after this? No.
No, Prabhu,
So
no.
we can make mistakes in spiritual life also. It is fine. So it's important. What is important is that we keep moving forward. It's not that we stay in the closet and we never get a bike because we're scared of falling down from the bike. So it's important to take decisions, and it's important to make mistakes, because when we make mistakes, then we learn. So there is no. I mean, we have to learn from every situation. I can't make a general statement. But of course, it is always good to have friends whom we can discuss our ideas. Like Prabhupada says in the Prabhupada, no, Dhṛtarāṣṭra Thakur says that Guru Sadhu, was that, you know the verse? Guru Sadhu Shastra, Chaitanya Kariya Akhya. There are three things we should always keep in our heart. Guru, the words of Guru, the words of our sadhus, which means our friends who are spiritualists, and Shastra, which means scripture. So if we have doubt, we can try to find something which fits in these three things, or connects to these three things.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
I mean, I also wanted to share one more thing that, in my Krishna conscious journey also, several times I also lied at my home when I had to meet devotees, at least initially. Like I remember one time I was coming home from USA, and I told them that I'm arriving on 15th, but I was arriving a week earlier. And then for the whole week, I was in Vrindavan and Mayapur, and then I showed up. And I remember that I was doing parikrama with Deemandu Prabhu in Vrindavan, and while doing parikrama, I slid. And because of that, I hurt my ankle. It was bleeding and everything. And I lost my shoe because the shoe broke. So when I reached home, I was wearing these flip-flops, and I had a small bruise on my ankle. So I had to come up with all kinds of excuses. How come I'm coming from USA wearing these flip-flops and having this bruise? Another time I was coming, and I spent a month in Mayapur before I reached my home. So Yuga Krishna Prabhu told me it is fine. If you're Indian, you can say lies. But even in this purport, you said, not whether you're Indian or not, it said in this purport that if we have to do something for Krishna's pleasure, it is fine to say a lie. It's not that I'm trying to cheat for some materialistic gain. It is just for doing service. And so I have personal experiences doing something like this in the past. Anybody here has experience of saying or cheating for the purpose of pleasing Krishna? Would you like to share? Or you can tell something from Shastra also. That's fine if you don't have a personal experience.
I think I do have some Muslim friends, Prabhuji, and who obviously do not accept prasad if they are aware. But yeah, I guess I fed them prasad knowing that they would not knowingly have prasad. I did feel like, I don't know, like I was conflicted slightly, but then I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
That's a good one. Yes. Don't tell them and give them nice prasad, their heart changes. Yes. That's wonderful. Anybody else has done some cheating for Krishna's pleasure there? They want to share? Okay, so we always end with this thing that everybody should share a one line or two about what they learned from today's discussion, or the story which we discussed, or anything we read from the purport. So something to take home. So what is our take home point for the day? We can go in circle one by one.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Praneeth.
Yeah, I think there are two small points, maybe three, but from the initial verses where you made a mention that we want to use scriptures for reflection and not to judge. Because I also find myself tempted to, when I see situations happening around me, and I feel the urge to impose whatever I'm reading in Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita to get my own perspective on it. So I'm having to fight that urge to see that just because I've read this doesn't mean I'm better. And it also is probably better that I use this to clear my own conscience and my own actions. So that point that you made was very helpful. I think you also quoted I'm guessing Bhakti Gita Maharaj, where it says humility does not mean think low, it means think less of yourself. That also is a balance that I sometimes forget, I think. Because if I'm either praising somebody or if I'm getting it back, I used to either deny it or accept it sometimes. But I think coming to these sessions often has also helped me realize that I have to first not accept that credit to myself, but also offer it to the Lord, because what I'm doing, we're all just instruments. But this statement also is a good reminder. It's a much more succinct reminder for me to think about it. And I think the last point that you said, that great souls or devotees cheat for a great cause, service of the Lord, because that was always a conflicting point from Mahabharata, where we see people taking nuanced stances, like Lord Krishna covering the sun during the battle, and same thing with Yudhistir Maharaj about Ashwatthama. So this I think has made it stronger that it was all done for a great cause. As long as it is for a service of the Lord, it's okay. So these are my 3 takeaways. Thank you.
Thank you, Praneeth. Very nice.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. I think there's no way that if I was reading or we were reading, we would make this connection of going from the pulpit to the story of Raghunath Das Goswami to Pani at the festivals. That was really great class, Guruji. So one thing for me is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed to Raghunath Das Goswami that you mentioned in the class is to not to be a monkey renunciate, but to be like renunciate from heart first. So like give up hypocrisy and cheating and try to be like a simple version and then take it up seriously.
I think I'm next in line, but I don't have any major takeaways today, Prabhuji. It was just very joyful joining the class today. Thank you.
I can't hear you, my brother. What do you speak? What do you say? Can anybody hear? I don't hear.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Can you say a little loudly?
Yes, I was
Yeah.
just saying I do not have any major takeaways today, Prabhuji. I was just glad that I was able to be a part of this class and listen to all your reflections. Thanks.
Okay, I know you don't have any major takeaways, but tell me just a minor takeaway.
Sure. Minor takeaways for me in terms of the story is I liked how Sanjay kind of was lamenting that his guru just went away one day. From his point of view, it was nice to see. Like, in one way, if you see, he's really a servant slash slave, and he like really went away. And he was sad that his master went away. And yeah, from I was just thinking more about his feelings and his point of view at this point in the story.
It's very interesting because later, pretty soon, one person will come on the stage and he would comment on Sanjay's lamentation. It'd be, I think, Narada. He will come and he will say that you are yourself in the garb, in the mouth of a snake. What's a snake? Snake is a snake of time. Everybody's about to die, but you think you can take care of anybody else? You cannot. So we have this false belief that we can control and take care of others, but that is just false belief. So yes, it's a very interesting thing how even Sanjaya is right now in lamentation and he's thinking, oh, these great kings, they were depending on me and now they are missing. So how he had this false ego that he was the protector of Dhṛtarāṣṭra. But actually it is not. It's Krishna who is the protector and we are just an agent for time being, for small period. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Just I wanted to highlight that point that we have to always look within for fault, not in others.
What did you say, Vinay? I didn't understand. Say again one more time.
Actually, I wanted to highlight the point that when Yudhistir came looking for Dhṛtarāṣṭra, and he was saying, where is my uncle? Where is my uncle? And where he left. But he never thought that he did so much bad to him, and still he's like lamenting that he did something wrong, and basically he forgot all his sins, and again he's like looking within that he did something wrong, and he offended him, something like that. And I just wanted to highlight that point. We should also always look within, not fault in others.
Yes, yes, very good point. Yes, thank you for sharing that. It can't be emphasized enough. I mean, Chaitanya Bhagavat, he says about 100 times that word. Do not find fault in others. Thank you for sharing that.
I guess
Next, who's next here?
yeah, I
We have
can
to be a
go
little
next.
quick because I have to go soon, so
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll go next, Prabhuji. Thanks again, Prabhuji, for such a wonderful clarification. Said we wouldn't have been able to draw the parallels if it weren't for you. I guess just like everyone else highlighted that the finding faults thing, and then in connection to the last discussion that we had, um, I guess in general sense, when people are doing for materialistic causes, there are certain well-defined right ways, right means, and wrong means. So generally, when we are so used to that, I also tend to view devotees and like their transcendental or like spiritual means to do things also through that vision. So generally, I tend to become judgmental, whether this person is good or bad or like things like that, even yeah, in a different setting. So today was a um, very subtle but a very eye-opening sort of a thing for me that although it's the same action, when it's done from a different intention and purpose or for a different purpose, it might not actually be a bad thing. Uh, it's something that I'm going to take away from today, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Actually, it's also a very fine line in one sense that when to do such a thing, because sometimes people can misuse this. Also, like one time, some devotees went to Prabhupada and they actually had done a theft at a jewelry shop to collect money, and Prabhupada was very unhappy with that, and he said, "You will have to pay for this." Because as we read in the purport, it said great souls cheat. It's great souls, not that everybody can cheat like that, because we can misuse it instead of cheating and end up actually fueling our own inner desire, or ego, or material ego, and try to say this for Krishna's pleasure. So we have to be very careful there. So yes, great souls do cheat, but it's not that they're always cheating. They're actually most of the time following the rules. Only when they're under pressure situation like Raghunath Goswami, he wanted to leave, and he told a small lie just to get out. But it's not that he's speaking a lie all the time like that. Be careful there. Actually, I have also one more special gift to offer today to all of you, because I'm here in Nandagaon with my dear friend Vishnu Sarup, and he has been my good friend for the last 15 years and practicing Krishna consciousness here in Delhi, and we together are doing this seva here in Nandagaon. And I'm inviting him also right now to speak and share something about our today's discussion. He's very shy. He doesn't want to say.
Hare Krishna. So
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
nice to meet all of you online. So actually, I was asking him behind that we are getting late because we have to leave for Delhi. So I was not part of the discussion. I don't know exactly what topic he was taking, but I heard few of the points that we should be free from the habit of fault finding, and that's very important. So it's very nice that you are coming, I think, on a weekly basis for Bhagavatam reading. Yeah, so that's very wonderful because even in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is given that Nityam Bhagavat Sevya, that on regular basis that we discuss Bhagavatam, then it purifies our heart. And I'm sure that you would be feeling the same. Yes. So thank you so much. So now, like, we need to take permission from all of you that we need to leave because it will take another 3.5 hours to reach Delhi. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank
Sorry
you
for
so much.
Thank
taking
you.
a lot of your time, Prabhuji.
You all are from Michigan or from different parts of the world?
Mostly from Michigan, Prabhuji, but definitely different parts as well. India,
Okay.
Chicago, Canada.
Okay. So if I'm whenever I come to Michigan with Siddha Prabhu, so definitely I'd like to meet all of you.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank
Sorry
you.
that we
Thank you so
got
much. No.
late.
Yeah. So we are college friends. So I was just like from behind, I was just pushing him that just kindly wind it up. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. All
Hare
glories to
Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the Vaishnavas. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.